Josh Paler Lin is a YouTuber who's really curious to see what happens to homeless people after you give them money. What do they actually do with that money? Now, of course, there are a bunch of stereotypes about homeless people. There are a lot of assumptions that once you give them money, all they do is buy booze or drugs. And Paler is really honest about the fact that he thought that's what the outcome of this story would be, right? So he gives a homeless individual some money, and then he follows him to see what he does with that money. Take a look at the video and notice the outcome.
Today I'm gonna give a homeless guy $100, and I'm gonna follow him and see how he spend it. Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm all right.
I'm Josh.
Oh, goodness.
It's just $100 here.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, just keep it. It's your money now.
Oh.
He just came out. Oh. He's giving them food.
All right, so he actually went to a liquor store, right? It looks like a liquor store. And at that point, Paler Lin thought, like, oh, of course, right? Liquor store. And then he comes out with this massive bag of food and he starts passing it out to other people that are homeless. Yeah. And so Paler Lin was really touched by that, and then he like tracks him down again and gives him another $100 and says, look, I gotta be honest with you, I thought you were gonna buy booze, but you actually did something so amazing.
Right. Now, you can watch the whole video on Josh Paler Lin's YouTube channel. And look, so he does pranks in a lot of his videos, from what I understand, right? So I think that it was, you can't really call it a prank, but I think you're right that he was setting it up for, and he says it in the video. Yeah. He said he apologized to the guy. He said, "I'm sorry, man. I thought you were just going to buy liquor, right?" And there was going to be an element of like, "Ha ha," right? And then when it turns around, that's what makes it an even better story. Yeah. And God, contrast that to some people in this country who say, "Oh, you shouldn't give anybody anything," individualism, and throw bootstraps at him, and you know, these guys are bums and all this stuff, right? And here's a guy who has nothing. He's homeless. And he gets this $100 and he's so thankful, and he hugs Josh earlier in the, he's like, is it okay if I give you a hug, right?
Yep.
Right? And then the first thing he does and goes buys food for other homeless people.
Yeah.
If he can be that generous, can't we all say, hey, you know what? We can do at least a fraction of that and help everybody out, because we're one big community.
Yeah, well, we're in the middle of the Hunger Games right now. That's why I love that movie so much, because I think it's so indicative of what's happening in the country. We're all like fighting one another. The middle class is fighting the working class, and we're arguing over stupid, irrelevant things, as opposed to looking up at the system that's kind of keeping us down. Like, what can we do to change that so people aren't poor anymore, right? But also, people love to make assumptions about those who are living outside, people who don't have homes to go to, right? They're either druggies, or they dropped out of high school and they're losers and they're lazy. Everyone has an individual story. This homeless man's story was all about healthcare, right? Yep. So his family gets sick, his father gets sick. They don't have enough money to take care of him. He basically loses everything as a result, and he ends up on the streets. So you don't know what everyone's story is, and there are a number of people that are homeless that didn't have access to mental health care, and as a result, they ended up outside living in the streets. I mean, it's just, you have to take every individual example.
And so, don't get us wrong, we don't think like every homeless person is angelic, and if you give them money, they're going to immediately do charity for others. Everybody's different. And so will some of them use it for alcohol? Of course. Will some have mental health issues? Of course, right? But what I think is this iceberg of a story that people don't talk about so much, and you see it in the full video when he talks about it, is this healthcare issue. I ran into a woman who's working at a Hooters, and she used to work for a major pharmaceutical company. She went to law school. I'm like, God bless your heart. I mean, I like Hooters, but why are you at a Hooters? And she said, I came home to take care of my mom, and then because she was sick, and then we couldn't pay the bills. And then I had to get a job at night at Hooters to pay the bills. I mean, what we are doing to ourselves and crushing ourselves with these healthcare bills is insanity, right? And so that's why some people wind up on the streets that have no business there. And their immediate reaction is, let me help others, in this case, right? And it's so heartwarming to see. And so I'm glad he did the experiment. He might not have meant well in the beginning, but he certainly did the right thing by the end, so it worked out great.